What's the conspiracy or idea that made you question everything?
Oh man, I knew something like this was gonna.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. You know what? I could go into a very specific one, but I can't really think of it. I think it's just the culmination of everything because once you start to get the idea that everything's a lie, it just one thing after another is a connection, and I think then I start to question everything rather than it's just one it's just one thing. Like if you see, I don't know, a 9/11 or JFK or the Holocaust, if you just see one of them,
Yeah.
you're not going to change because it's just one instance and it's most people are going to see something and they're going to be like, "Oh, that's interesting,"
Yeah, or
or
it might not
"Oh,
even
that's
connect
different."
with you.
Yeah,
It might not resonate.
they're going to see one thing and they're just going to be like, "Okay, well that's just a conspiracy." But as you do more research, if you're a little more curious about that kind of topic, you do more research and I guess you fall down all the rabbit holes or whatever, or you connect the dots with other current event stuff.
Yeah.
Then you realize, okay, well, that information is now more convincing than the mainstream narrative and what you've grown up to believe and what you've grown up to be taught, right? Because you then realize who made those books that the teachers taught, like who owns those books, who owns those pieces of information. It's the people who want you to know a certain narrative, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, it wasn't like it really wasn't one thing. It was a multitude of things
And they
that
just
led
added
to.
up, added
Yeah,
up.
they just added up, and you make enough connections one day, and you're like, wow, everything is
Yeah.
kind of a lie.
So they're kind of sitting in the back of your head. It's kind of like what I picture is there's a wall, a big brick wall, and every time you saw a conspiracy theory or something out there that resonated just a little bit, it was like taking a hammer to that wall.
Yeah.
And so at first you think it's not going to break through that wall,
Yeah.
but then enough of those hits happen and
Yeah, enough blows and that wall crumbles down, or it just chisels into something different. That's exactly right, and I think most people can't really land on that certain conspiratorial belief system yet until enough is enough.
yeah.
And I think I accelerated myself into that area. It wasn't all at once. It kind of started, and then over the years, just personally getting screwed by the system also didn't help at all, because I think that personal experience, I think everyone kind of goes through that, getting kind of screwed over by some sort of system that is in place, whether it be education, medical, healthcare, all that stuff,
Yeah.
politics. It could screw over you, it could screw over your family, and you use that rather than just being like, okay, well that's unfortunate. I think the people who want change and they want things to be better, they're gonna question it and really figure out why, even if they're just one person, because at the end of the day, an individual doesn't hold much power, but many individuals with the same belief, when they unify, they hold the most power out of anyone. So to have that, to just have other
Right.
people be on that side of things.
We talked about that yesterday,
Yeah.
how it seems like the reason everyone feels like a victim right now is because we are all identifying as part of these subgroups, and there's now so many subgroups and tribes to be a part of that no one has power.
Yeah.
And that's the issue with today, where now just the elite can be above everyone else
Yeah.
because no one can agree on one set
Yeah.
thing.
And you know what's wild? They're not even, they're just people like us. They're not even elite. And so calling them elites, like, I don't like doing that, because they're just other human beings that have,
They've just manipulated
they've
us.
just made themselves seem like the authority, And so now people just will listen and will just be fed all this garbage and just not even question it. And all the propaganda splits everyone into all these random groups that doesn't even matter. And now no one has unity, and everyone's fighting each other over complete garbage.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's when revolutions happen, is when people kind of have enough and they realize that we all have a common characteristic and we all want good, whether that's God or Jesus, some sort of religion.
Right.
And then you band together and then you kind of overthrow, the people in charge, which is possible. And I think we're headed towards that direction. And
Yeah.
I hope it'll happen soon, because things are kind of getting, I won't say grim out here, but they're definitely on a downward trend over the past 20 years.
I'm guessing what really made you snap, because it's interesting how someone can follow the rules and not question them and be so certain about what we're supposed to do in that typical path, that paved road. But then what I'm guessing, knowing you, to be the breaking point, because you said everyone goes through some type of personal experience. My best guess is when you got out of college and you were looking for a job and you applied to, I think you said you had your own spreadsheet tracking them. How many jobs?
Yeah, it was like 1,200 jobs.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
1,200 jobs.
And you get sold the, once you have a degree, especially in something as prominent as IT.
Yeah.
You would think
that should be.
You would think that's a guarantee, right? And especially after obtaining a bachelor's degree beforehand from the same accredited university, you would think it's almost a guarantee to get something, but it's your not true.
University was big university.
Yeah, it's the biggest college in North Carolina, but I mean, that right there was kind of the first step of like, all right, I need to
Makes you question everything. You go, something can't be right here. I did everything I was told to do.
Yeah.
I followed all the steps. I finished grade school. I got the good grades. I went to college, got the good grades once again. I applied. And wait a minute, now it's not working out for me.
It doesn't work. And not saying it doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah.
Because there are people where it works. And technically, it worked for me the first time around because I got a job right out of my bachelor's degree in textiles, but the job was terrible. But
did you go back for the IT one?
Yeah, I did. Because there was just an unfulfilling, it was just a really bad job. We could do a whole episode dedicated to just me in that first job, because that job was so terrible as a small company.
So you got 2 degrees technically.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I got 2 degrees.
Wow, okay.
And don't use them anymore, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a learning process. I don't regret anything. I think there was a phase of my life after college where I was like, dude, I should not have done any of this.
Mm-hmm.
But
I felt that.
It's paved the way to where I am now, and I wouldn't have that knowledge and wisdom of going through that. So I think that's okay. It just sucks that it almost seems like those 6, 7 maybe years were kind of a waste of time, because it didn't lead to the career I'm in now. And if I were to do what I was doing now for 7 years, who knows where I would be, right? But it allows me to experience both sides, because a lot of people who are just entrepreneurs, they don't experience the side of college and the side of corporate life and that kind of side, and so they just assume it's all garbage, which I think most of it is, to be honest. But if you don't experience it, you can't really you can't say much on it. You can only say by what other people say, and so I've been through both, and I could say that it sucks. For myself, a lot of people kind of just want to listen to their authority and not really care. That's okay. That's fine. I'm not like that.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that a lot of these people who followed the path and it did work out for them, they have even more reason to believe it.
Yeah.
Because they think, okay, yeah, what they say is true.
Yeah.
And that's the scary thing, is that a lot of people these days are brainwashed in that sense. And so, of course, anything they hear, they're going to believe. They're going to see a commercial and think it's true. I mean, what I think is crazy is when I was in college, a lot of the girls in our friend group, this pissed me off.
Mhm.
They would read something on Instagram, just
Yeah.
like an Instagram post that said something, and they'd believe it's real just because it's a post.
Yeah.
And I'd go, do you not understand? I can make a post and say something.
Yeah.
And then, are you going to think it's real then?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Information, people. Okay, this is something that people think that in order for there to be a war, it has to be with guns and violence and shooting and bombs
Yeah.
and weaponry.
That's what I'd picture.
We've been in an information war since the start of the internet back in the 90s, because
Shoot.
we are literally battling against people who are controlling the information and people who are putting stuff out there, and then we're battling with, I guess, what is the truth? Because the truth is definitely out there. I 100% believe that. And I think people will say they believe the truth is out there, but not actually act like it, because then they'll see something and be almost too skeptical. Because I think there's a certain part where you have to come to a conclusion about something. You can't just, you can be skeptical, but you have to place an ideology, or else you're never going to become someone, in my opinion. You're just going to keep getting swayed left, right.
Right.
You're going to keep getting pulled in one direction, but then you see something convincing in another direction, you're going to get pulled in that direction.
So how do you know?
So you have to, how do you know where to anchor yourself? I think that's very difficult. I think that comes with a lot of time. I think that comes with a lot of experience.
Do you think it comes with trying each one out, entertaining each one till you see what resonates the
Yeah,
most?
yeah. I think
Kind of like a diet.
Yeah.
We've both tried a bunch of different diets, and finally we found one where we seem to feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Stomach's still in shambles.
Right.
Better than before.
Exactly. It's like an information mental diet with your brain, where you're kind of filtering out all the stuff you don't think is true. And man, it's so hard, because there's too much information. It's like going to a restaurant where the menu is 50 pages long. It's like it's worse to figure out what you want there, because now everything looks so good, right?
Even just here, I'm trying to plan Katie's birthday and pick a restaurant. And being in a city for the first time, there's so many restaurants. I don't know which one to go to.
Yeah.
Whereas back home, it's like, okay, I know the two best restaurants in a 30-mile radius. That's easy pick.
Yeah, and the only way to do it is just to go to a restaurant. Like, don't think too much about it and just go into that.
Yeah.
Learn a bunch about it, full send it, and you'll find out if it's something that aligns with your purpose. And I think people are just, they want to optimize anything before they have any information. And then it's contradicting, because what if you optimize something, you spend so much time researching, optimizing, and then you realize it's not even right for you? That's why you just have to try it. It's like with, gathering information about a conspiracy. You just have to dive into it, do the research, and then you can come up with a conclusion, rather than, kind of just, I don't know, whatever the comparison is to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all theoretical in a sense until you try it. I think what's kind of scary is a lot of it seems to, everything I think can be true. It's kind of the lens you have. And what I mean is, when I first started working out, people would talk about, oh, you want to have slow and controlled reps. Those ones with a really slow eccentric, a 3 count, that's going to build the most muscle. And then I'd see people in the gym going really fast, and I think, fucking idiot, you're not going to put on muscle.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, you see a study that says, oh no, actually eccentrics don't matter, and it's just a matter of having some type of control, but you can go fast.
Yeah.
And so then I'd start doing that, and then I'd see the person going slow, and I'd say, you fucking idiot. And it's like, then the next month, I see the thing that talks about the eccentrics, and I go, wait, what do I believe?
What is it now?
And so that's what's kind of scary about it, is maybe both conflicting points can be true.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of finding one to anchor to.
Yeah, it's finding the anchor, and I think it's finding what you fit in with best, because you have to actually put in the action to figure that out. It's like the difference between you and I with just working out in general, because you always grew up bodybuilding, right?
Yeah.
That's like what you've been doing for a decade. I bodybuild a little bit, but my I guess my body is better attuned for quick movements and for fast movements.
Yeah.
So my training, I like training better in the lower rep range where I'm a little more strength, a little more power focused. And that's just the difference between you and I. And so it's not like I only do that, but that's only discovered if you branch out and you try different stuff.
Right. And I think too with that, it comes down to the intentions being the same, but the execution being different.
Yeah.
We both want to be healthier. We both
Yeah.
want to feel more confident and perform at a higher capacity, but we're just going about that differently.
Yeah.
Whereas the people who are going through life blindly with no intention, well, then that's where it's a problem because they have no intention behind any of their actions.
Well, that's why people can't get consistent in the gym, is because they tie it to either just losing weight or looking good, when that should be the last thing.
Yeah,
you know,
that's just a bonus.
That's literally a bonus. If you don't have a purpose revolved around something as fundamental as lifting weights and exercising, then you're never going to be consistent with it. And I mean, it's kind of just as simple as that.
Yeah, it really is.
And also, I guess, and we kind of attacked this differently as well, our kind of gut health, where obviously it was different between you and I. We had the kind of the opposite problem, but you went the approach of attacking your SIBO with kind of the FODMAP and the, you know, the removal of things from your diet. And I attacked it with just a brute force 5-day fast, which now I feel a lot better.
Yeah.
By the way, fasting
that probably could have sped it up for me.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, that shit, fasting is, dude, talk about something that's been, well, what's
demonized?
Yes.
Yeah, people would say fast for 5 days.
Dude.
Most people can't go a couple hours without eating a chocolate bar.
Exactly. Most people can't go like a single hour without sugar or carbs or something. But there's just something so, I don't even just say beautiful about not eating. Like your body goes into a state of, because your body expends so much energy digesting food, when it doesn't have to worry about that, you feel almost enlightened in a way, like you're moving towards an enlightened path. And yeah, you're hungry. But I saw this comment on an Instagram post. I got some reel about fasting, and it was about a really long fast, like past a week. And some guy in the comments was like, well, then why are these, you know, children in these third world countries starving to death? And someone replied, and they're like, because they haven't disconnected themselves from wanting food. All they want is food, so that's gonna drive you freaking insane. But if you disconnect your mind from wanting food, you can go a long time without having to eat, because you're essentially on a different vibrancy of life, which even I feel like 5 days isn't even that long now. And that was a good freaking, that was a good fast, and I felt super kind of rejuvenated after.
Yeah.
But I think there's something so profound in that. And you know, I think all the modern day science is like, oh, you're gonna lose muscle, oh, you're gonna lose a bunch of weight. And
it looked exactly the same.
Yeah, it looked exactly the same. I didn't lose anything. And dude, everyone, like all these people, like, oh, how much did you weigh before and after? Because they tie it directly to body composition, directly to weight. And yes, it can be a tool for that, but that's not the purpose behind any of that.
There's unmeasurable stuff with anything, because you could, for example, look at a job and on paper it sounds great. You know, you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. You get X amount of time off for vacation. You got this bonus structure, but are you happy doing it?
Yeah.
You know, does it fulfill you?
Yeah.
Does it excite you? Is it something that you wake up every day looking forward to doing? Things that you can't really measure.
That's exactly correct. 'Cause everyone ties a career and job to, oh, well, how much bread are you making a year? When it's like, dude, I've had a job where I could have gotten 200K a year and hated it still. Like it doesn't, the money value doesn't matter to that anymore, because that work doesn't align with me as a human and with, you know, what I want out of life, I guess, and I guess moving it in the direction I want. So money has no value when it's tied to something like that. You know, it's got to be tied to a why, a purpose, you know, your soul. It can't be directed towards garbage.
Right. So why do you think people need to start not taking things at face value anymore? Why should people start questioning everything?
That's deep, yeah. Man, that's such a giant flip, and most people can't do that because if you
There's
like
comfort in trusting.
I got lucky, low key. I mean, I guess it's not luck, but college was kind of the awakening of that for me, like slowly but surely. No person is going to go from listening to a narrative and believing in that straight to, oh, well, this is not true. Like, they could have some crazy shit happen to them and that won't happen. I think it's got to happen slowly over time. But I think in order for people to get to that, they either have to be constantly screwed over by the system. That was part of my, part of me, part of you, I think part of a lot of people. And then they have the courage to actually change, because this is the problem with all these older people and a lot of these people who have giant egos is they're just so rooted and they think they're right and they just have no courage to really stretch their bounds and expand their mind for anything.
Do you think it has to do with the whole, is it fallacy of lost costs? Where basically you put in enough so for example, you invested all this money into, I don't know, a new house, you're building it, and then you find out that the land, you're not supposed to build on it. It's not going to last. But you think, well, I already invested so much money into this. I should just stick with it and keep finding a way. And then next thing you know, you've put in way too much money and so much time has gone by and it was totally a waste. Whereas if you left at let's just say, I don't know, you already put in $50,000 worth of building. If you just threw away that $50,000, you said, okay, I'm going to learn from this and move on, you would be in a better position.
You just cut your losses there.
Yeah, and so what I'm saying is with knowledge, maybe people have been going so long with these beliefs and they've made so many big decisions based on these beliefs that they don't want to feel guilty.
Dude, this is incredibly accurate, and this is what I'm battling with you know who right now. Because when someone caters their whole existence around a false persona or someone that they think is right or someone that they think is aligned, then them changing is almost taking a sledgehammer to their entire foundation of what they stand on. And a lot of people can do that. A lot of people are able to realize that and be like, oh shit, I'm down the wrong pathway. I am sinking, I'm digging my own grave. And then they can slowly change. You know, they might still have residual garbage left over, which is fine. I think everyone does. But then they can, you know, slowly chisel their new life. But that instigation and that realization of just a massive ego death and a massive, you know, if I want this new life, I'm going to have to completely change the way I live. That's a very abrupt change that, dude, a lot of people cannot do.
No, I mean, it's like going 100 miles an hour and then trying to stop on a dime.
Yeah, so imagine making a ton of friends and having a career and, you know, just living a certain way for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you have to find new friends, you have to do another career, and you have to just adopt a whole new kind of way of life on a dime.
That's a lot at once.
That's a lot of, like, unless you were, I don't know, unless there was such a massive traumatic experience to where you had to, like someone was putting a gun to your head or, I don't know, to your family or something, that kind of change is almost impossible to make. So.
Well, yeah, I went through that coming here to an extent where when I first left LA to move here, I just felt this strong. It was weird because I didn't really have a traumatic event. I think it was just like you said before, so many things built up. Finally, I had it. I snapped and I said, I need to leave. I need to go to Austin on my own. I need to figure my life out and rebuild. Came here, so I changed the location. I'm now in a new place. I don't know where anything is. I don't have go-to coffee shops and restaurants or I don't know what the best gym is, whatever. Go to a new place. I have no friends in the new place, so now I need to make new friends. And all my habits are now starting from scratch. I have a new
Mhm.
routine that I need to make. I even thought to myself when I first got here, what I would do normally every weekend is go out with my friends. Well, I'm thinking, not even where am I going to go out? Who am I going to go out
Yeah.
with? Like, I'm not going to go out if I have no one to go
Yeah,
out
you don't
with.
want to be
And
that guy that's just standing there alone.
yeah. And so the beauty in that was that forced me to disrupt all my
Yeah.
habits because I have no one to go out with.
Yeah.
So now, a month into living here, I haven't gone out.
Yeah.
I haven't drank in a month, which was unheard of.
Yeah.
The last time I hadn't drank in that long was before college.
Wow.
So to me, that was a huge disruption, but in the best way, because it made me realize what life is like without drinking,
Yeah.
how good I feel, how much I can get done.
Yeah.
It allowed me to meet friends who have the same interests because I wasn't going out, I wasn't sleeping in, so then I was
That's
waking
right.
up earlier and I was going to the gym earlier when people who aren't hungover are going to the gym.
Yeah.
So then I'm meeting people who aren't into drinking, who are more into the same thing, and it has this domino effect. And so change like that it's hard to experience, like you said, and that was only a few things that changed.
Right. There needs to be a trigger. There needs to be a trigger for these people.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because if you're not swayed enough, you're not going to do it. And I've seen this many times. It's why people who hire a personal trainer, it's the reason why most of them do not succeed. Like, I'd say I've probably had a total of like 20-ish clients, and I would say 5 to 6 of them actually became consistent.
Oh God, yeah.
Which is honestly a good amount.
Good ratio for you.
That's honestly not that bad because I think as the sample size gets higher, the percentage goes lower. Because like, let's say you train 1,000 people, that there's probably less than 100 of those people, less than 10%, that actually kind of keep those habits, which, it makes sense because people are gonna, be emotionally involved early on, and then as it becomes harder, they're gonna fall off, and, they just, some people just don't have it in them, and it's, it just.
The why's not strong enough.
The why's not strong enough.
People do 75-day hard, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and it's really difficult, but it's not sustainable, and there is no why other than I just want to try this thing, see what happens, and then by the end, they don't carry any of the things forward.
Yeah, they don't carry it. They fall off. That's why those numbered date things just aren't. They're not great because it's like, what do you do after 75 days? Do you just stop everything you've done, or do you slowly transition it over? Because if you do slowly transition it over, then you shouldn't start with all that. You should start with a small thing. And work that into something a little bit bigger. It's a little bit bigger. It's a little bigger. Okay, well now you're lifting 5 days a week, and now you're walking every day, and that's your baseline. And that's what crew talks about all the time, is establishing a baseline, because all of our baselines are a lot larger than some random person who doesn't exercise, because we see is going to the gym and exercise every day is normal, where they see going to the gym once a month is crazy for them. So. The baseline is just completely on opposite spectrums, but it can get there. It just takes time, and it takes it takes your mind and your body to adapt to that. Because once it starts feeling bad to not adhere to that baseline, that's when you know it's good.
Right. So we know it's tough to make that shift, but why would you say it's important for those people who are on the fence and they're hesitant? Why should they lean over to the other side of the fence? Even if it means falling off the fence, landing on their shoulder and hurting themselves a little bit, why is it important to do that?
That's true. Yeah, you might fall off, you might break your shoulder, you might lose a limb, but this is why it's important, because when you think of starting a new consistency in any realm, whether it's if it's business, reaching out to people, getting leads, if it's diet, eating a little bit healthier every day, if it's fitness, lifting or walking every day, those stuff all transition, and they all are one large vacuum of positive habits. So you don't know that until you start doing them, because the one instigator of what made my life better was working out. because that transition to career, that transition to
Yeah.
relationships, that transition to freaking everything. So if you find that one thing that you can become consistent at that, it is so much easier to find another thing that you're lacking and also become consistent with that. And then it's a spiral upward, right? Because then you become unstoppable. Then you start picking up, other good things like communication skills or learning how to fight or, becoming a better parent. Or it all starts from one thing, one hard thing, one fundamental thing like fitness, diet, exercise.
Yeah.
But then that easily carries over to other parts of your life. But when you first start out, you're only tunnel vision on losing weight. You're only tunnel vision on making more money. But you do that and you kind of get some success. And then it's like, oh, well, what if I just have this same consistency, but now I dial it in towards something parallel that will mutually affect everything. And you start getting all these things that you're getting good at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not just a tunnel vision, it's a carryover effect. And you just have to, try, you have to stay consistent, you got to stop, you have to get the fuck off TikTok.
Yeah.
You got to get out of bed, you got to do all that shit. And yeah.
Where do you see questioning coming into that? Because questioning is the most important thing
Yeah.
that you can do. And so do you see it relating to that?
Questioning is good. So, and people get stuck in that loop of, well, if I want to do this, I want to make sure I have the right information.
I mean, it seems like it kind of ties into the whole, before what you were saying about you just got to try it and see if it works for you. And that's really where it's most important, is because if you don't question something, you don't know if you're just spinning your wheels and wasting your time. So that can go into exercise, where if you aren't questioning the routine and the results, then you could be wasting your whole life.
Yeah, and this is where it becomes hard, because you and I, crew, all of our friend group can kind of get away with anything when it comes to fitness now, because we're very, very familiarized with it. With someone who's new, they're instantly probably going to go to ChatGPT, or they're going to, figure out how to become leaner or gain muscle, and they're going to be put into a calorie surplus, or they're going to try to get this protein, where I don't have to eat for 5 days and I can still keep my muscle, because I understand it better than most people. We all understand it better than most people. I think you have to, I don't want to say just do it, because that's just like, okay, well, duh. But
sometimes it is the simple stuff.
It's the simple, like, it really is so simple. And like, people are just, oh, what supplements, what protein powder? Just eat.
Yeah.
Just eat food that was living at one point. Like, literally just, if you go to the grocery store and you're shopping in the middle aisles with all the garbage, that's your problem. You have to just start eating and being a human being. And if you can just, and you can make that connection. Every person watching this, every person listening to this, you know how to be a human being, okay?
Yeah.
You know that you need to be eating single ingredient food. You know you need to be moving your body. You know you need to be lifting weights. Just be a human for 6 months straight.
Yeah.
And trust me, you will be fine. And you won't need ChatGPT to come up with a plan for you. You won't need to hire a trainer. It could help. And a lot of people kind of need that extra accountability, which isn't a problem. I think it's fun to have,
I mean, you're biased.
someone there.
You train people.
I am biased. I am a trainer.
No, you're right.
But I mean, and some people need that. Some people need someone there to hold them accountable and to be like, you missed this workout. What are you doing? So, but just be a human, because you will find out quickly that being a human and eating right and doing all that feels a million times better than being inconsistent, and you will not go back. No one goes back. Like, none of us are going to go back to the old life of going out and eating, fast food every once in a while, Chipotle, Cava. I mean, none of us are going to do that, because we know how good it feels and how sustainable it is to have a perfect diet. And people are like, oh, that's so, like, you're so confined, branch out and enjoy life. It's like, I enjoy my life more than you, and I'm more confined than you.
Well, and the thing is they're speaking from a place where they haven't experienced what we're experiencing.
Exactly.
We're speaking from a place where we've been on both sides.
Yeah.
They haven't. How about they try this for 6 to 12
Yeah.
months, however long we've been doing it, and then tell us
Yeah.
which is better. And I guarantee they'll probably say, you know what, you're right.
Exactly. Being relentlessly disciplined with your diet and exercise will always be better than having a little bit of freedom. Always. It tastes a lot better. You feel a lot better. You're able to learn more. You're able to have more wisdom because you can really fine tune your body. I mean, it's just you cut out all the variables, and it's like even if you still want to go out and you know, have a cheat meal, you still can, but it's just I don't believe there's a single human who will become this consistent and not want to stick with that because of just how you feel all the time, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And so if that's not a compelling enough case for people to make change, if there's still someone who is saying, I don't need to question everything, there's even, because I mean, what we talk about all the time is the professionals out there, even doctors half the time we don't believe, where, for example, I think you did too. We got our blood work done, and then we both were told you have too much. You should stop taking creatine.
Yeah.
We're worried about your your kidneys.
Yeah.
You know, and then we think to ourselves, well, actually, no. And we do the research, and we realize you can't trust some of these doctors.
Yeah.
So, for those people who are just blindly believing, what would you say has been the result of you questioning everything? Because I think hearing this would then make people go, oh, wait a minute, maybe it is worth doing that. You know, what changed in your life as a result of questioning everything?
Yes. Well, first of all, the doctor thing is true. It's just authoritative bias. That's all that is. Because
I'm a doctor, believe me.
Yeah, they're a doctor. They have this PhD. They also spend, I think, 2 hours on diet in school.
Yeah.
Like 2 total hours or something crazy, something really small. So it's like, how are you going to give me diet preferences when
I've spent hours on YouTube?
Yeah, when YouTube probably has better information, but also I've been eating my entire life. I know my body better than you do, okay? I'm connected with my own self. You're not. You're just basing your stuff off of you know, these ones and zeros that are in a textbook owned by people who are trying to make a profit. So this is all connections. This is all deeper thinking than just, oh, this guy with a white coat on is saying that this is bad. I must adhere to that because if not, I'm gonna die. And they use language like that to try to emotionally, you know, kind of get you in your emotions. So you're like, oh shit, maybe I should get this. Maybe I should get this treatment because he said I was gonna, you know, have this chronic disease for the rest of my life. But it's like, no, you have to see past all the garbage. And what was the second part of your question? It was
how'd your life change?
How my life
as a
changed.
result?
Well, you're gonna get a lot of people, because most people aren't gonna think like that. Most people are gonna give credit to the doctor, and it's not to say that they're not smart people. Most of them are smart. Most of them are in good, you know,
They probably have good intentions.
Yeah, they have good intentions, but you can have good intentions, but in the wrong way, and that's where you kind of figure out when you start questioning everything is, dude, a lot of these people just want good, but you can't listen to them because they're still in a system. They're still, you know, they're still underneath all the crap, all the propaganda, and you'll butt heads with a lot of people when you change, but your job is to not go back to your old ways. Your job is to keep figuring out more, keep making connections, you know, keep being your own self and your own intentional self. Because for me personally, I grew up just listening, which is great. You know, people like you. You're very well liked when you just all you do is listen. But then you can't culminate yourself out of that. You just take bits from everyone, so you're a piece of everyone rather than what do I think? What do I believe?
Holy crap, dude. That's so true, because I realized back home, whenever I'd hang out with my friends, I would respond to each friend differently in conversations based on how I know it would resonate with them.
Exactly.
And so that's not me responding, it's me responding, you know, trying to be a mirror for them.
Exactly.
That's not me.
Yeah. It's very hard. And, you know, I still find myself doing that. That's just how I grew up. And it's not a bad thing. It's just at some point, and it's the hardest thing to do with your family, because your family has been there the whole time. you know, your family, your mom and dad are the first people you kind of listen to. You see them as God. And when you first start to butt heads with them, and that this only happened to me recently, it's a very awakening thing.
Yeah.
Because the good thing about it is, well, now I'm my own individual, and they know that too. They're smart enough to realize that. But then they feel like, you know, you almost get a sense that they feel like they kind of didn't do something right, which they definitely didn't. But you are your own self at the end of the day. I'm a lot different than a lot of my family now. And that's just, you know, I think that's individualism.
Yeah,
I think that's just a product of questioning, and it's not going to stop ever. I mean, there's still more shit to find out, and it's through questioning. It's through you know, self trial and error. You know, self experimentation.
Yeah.
And that's not to say it comes with a lot of freaking pain, a lot of growth, for sure. Over the past years, it comes with a lot of pain.
Oh, I've been saying this year,
a lot of pain.
This year's been the most painful year yet.
Dude,
but
it's
also been the best year yet.
Yeah.
And I find that weird how those two can exist in the same experience.
Yeah.
But it's so true, and I think it's because, for me, the more I questioned, it was really painful to question these things and to entertain these new perspectives. But in doing that, it led to things that were so much better that I never would have experienced if I didn't open my mind and consider them.
That's right. That's entirely right. And people are so afraid of the truth.
I think it's because they attach who they are to what they believe.
Yes.
And they don't realize that's not who they are.
Yeah. I agree with that. People, it's the same reason why you go into, I've been seeing memes on Instagram and Twitter where it's like, you know, it's Ryan Reynolds or some actor walking up and the green screen is Thanksgiving dinner. It's like, now that you're the racist uncle, and it's like you're walking up to Thanksgiving dinner or whatever, which is extremely funny. But in a setting like that, you know, you're back home at Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner, and now you're the conspiratorial person.
Yeah.
And you say one small thing about politics, and now everyone's at your freaking neck because, oh, Brennan brought up politics, which I'm not going to, by the way, but I'm just using it as an example. You know, someone brings up politics, and then everyone's just like, you know, they're trying to get away from the conversation, or, you know, some people are in an emotional kind of stress now that someone mentions something about politics. And that's a problem because that just insists that there's a division here, because when you bring up something as important as who rules our nation, everyone should be in a consensus. Everyone should be, oh yeah, we could talk about that. Yeah, like in my opinion, there's never been a time where you can bring up politics with family and it go well ever.
That's funny you say that, because that's speaking to me right now, where 2 hours ago I was talking to my mom about how expensive all the steakhouses are over here, and I was complaining about that, and she started going, oh, that's because of XYZ.
Yeah.
And I could tell that was her speaking out from her frustrations with politics. And her and I we're kind of on opposite sides. And so then I got frustrated, more so just at the fact that she was turning it to be political, because if I'm talking to her, I know we have opposite opinions and I know we're not going to sway each other. And so I said, Mom, we've had this discussion 1,000 times. Let's not make this political, because we know it's going to go nowhere. And then she goes, I wasn't making it political. I was just saying fact. And I then got mad because I was saying, listen, anything is fact. You know, I could find plenty of proof for my fact. You can find plenty of proof. But the point is, I'm now sitting here hearing you say that, thinking, I'm that person who's getting emotionally upset by politics being brought up, when I should have welcomed it and I should have approached it from a constructive, calm manner. Because like you said, if we really are all on the same team in the same country, it should just be a constructive conversation.
Yeah, it should be constructive. And
I mean, maybe for my situation, the reason there was more stress was because I know she's already
kind of on the other side.
She's charged, and there's no constructive conversation there. I don't know.
Yeah, some people cannot get to that level and that depth of conversation where it's like, okay, I see the point of view, this is what I believe the truth is. This is what I believe the truth is.
Yeah.
A lot of it just involves, oh, well, my friend was affected by it. It all becomes emotional with
It
these
really
people.
does.
Once it becomes emotional, the conversation is done for, because there's no pulling someone out of that. And that's the problem.
Yeah, because that's deeper than anything
Yeah,
else.
because emotions don't matter when it comes to the truth of stuff. So once you kind of get a sense that someone's trying to be like, oh, and there's emotion, tied to whatever they're trying to argue, it's like, okay, well, no one's winning this. I'm just gonna shut up.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. There's because if you watch any mainstream media outlet, everything is tied to some emotional garbage, and you can't blame them for that, because that's what they see and that's what they believe is correct. It's just, you got to see past all that.
Yeah.
It's much deeper, and these people will be the same people to agree with you when you say, oh, everything is money driven, but then they can't make the connection that, okay, well, if this is money driven, then why would I believe that what they say is correct when money's corrupt?
Yeah. Well, so on that then, what's one thing you would want to leave anyone viewing this, listening to this? What's one thing that you think they should start questioning? Where should they start?
Man, I would look at you can start in a couple of different areas. I would look at every important endeavor of your life, okay? So health, if you're looking at health, question the medical system fully, okay? If you're looking at business or finances, question the financial system. Do some research about the Federal Reserve. Do some research about who owns the banks. Do some research about who owns, all these companies. Segueing into social media, right? Because if you're into social media, question that. Who owns the platforms that you use, right? Because you figure out who owns stuff, because everything's driven by profit and power. You figure out who owns things, and then you can see the narrative start to come alive, and that what they're trying to push is something that is leading towards a more controlling world for them, not you. Nothing is made for us, okay?
That's a hard truth.
It's a hard truth, all right? Well, we can have another episode about this kind of stuff, but I would say one thing is so difficult, because everything is interconnected. So, you go down the whole health rabbit hole, it leads back to finances and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Putting on one thing. What was the one thing?
Maybe it does
That's such a hard question, man.
It got you on your toes.
Yeah.
I think it, like you said, it really goes down to the finances, the money. I mean, not money, health.
Mm-hmm.
It's whatever. I guess, really, wherever you feel you're struggling most in life, you need to question that area the most, because chances are, if you're struggling there, you're probably not seeing it clearly.
Yes, that's a good answer. And on top of that, to start somewhere, I would strip away almost everything. That's where I would start, because in order to come to these conclusions, you have to kind of throw out a bunch of the other garbage that you're attuned to. So, if I were to coach someone on how to change, and someone was like, man, I'm kind of stuck in this mainstream loop of following a narrative but not knowing what to believe, I would tell them, you have to, let's strip down to the roots. Let's get rid of everything you know. Let's come at this at a very neutral point of view, a perspective of, I'm a little child and I'm learning. Because you look at children, they're the most grounded people, because they're only supernatural and they're only instinctive, right? Once you start feeding them information, that's when they become this person, this robot, this, narrative following entity.
Yeah.
If you just leave a child out they're going to be most connected to nature. They're probably going to be, incredibly spiritual. But I would say, start questioning yourself, like he said, and really, really ground yourself. You know, get technology out fast, like I did. Do something that's going to connect you with something bigger than just any type of materialistic thing, because that right there is going to put you in the mindset of, one, wanting to know more, but two, connecting with something deeper than just what's around us.
Yeah. Damn.
And I think that's more important.
That's the solution right there.
Yeah.
I think that wraps this up, man.
Very nice.
Thank you
Let's
for
go.
doing this.
Absolutely.
You're the man for that.
No problem.